Okay. All right. Thank you, Tommy. Come on in, grab a seat. Come on in, find a place to sit. Come on in, guys. Find your seats. For this session, Patty Bain and Barbara Thomas are helping me.
What are we doing?
You're helping me. You didn't know? No, I'm just kidding.
All right, that's fine. I'll always help you.
Thank you. It's all that in a bag of chips, Barb.
That's right.
All right, guys. Shh. Yeah, we do need a bell. Yeah, like a Jack Miller bell. How are you guys doing? You having fun?
Oh,
Yes,
so much
we
fun.
are.
It's been
Thank
good?
you, yeah.
Awesome. Michelle Chenal,
Guys, hello.
how are you?
I'm doing good.
You having a good time?
This is amazing, Jim.
Yeah, it's great energy, right?
I love it.
Everyone's
I'm
a,
learning a lot.
you're learning a
I'm
lot,
learning a lot.
and you've only been a realtor for like,
30 years.
yeah, I wasn't going to say 30 years. You're way too
Long
young
time.
for that.
Oh, thank you.
How, Lauren,
What?
how are you?
I'm good. I'm making lots of connections. That's awesome.
It's been good?
Yes,
All right,
very
good. Good.
It's been great.
Yeah? All right. Everyone having a good time? You're awake, you're alive, you feel great? Chuck, should we do some push-ups or something? Yes. All right, guys. Hey, come on in, guys. We are getting ready to roll. Hey, did I mention that tomorrow Sharon Rock's going to sing again? And we have an accompanying guitar with her. Tim Davis, wave your hand. Tim's going to bring his guitar tomorrow. He's an amazing guitarist. And then he's going to play Amazing Grace while Sharon Rock sings. That's our song right before lunch tomorrow. Does that sound good? We need the what band? Oh, well, there is a whole deal maker song thing that Sharon Rock could sing. I'm a deal maker. I don't remember how it goes. I can't sing, dance, or act. I will embarrass myself. I do, yeah, I did. We did do a recording. That's right, in the Philippines with Filipino accents. All right, so are you guys energized? After I do this for an hour, we're going to do the $1 billion panel. It's one of my favorite panels. It's about people that raise a lot of capital. Because don't you want to know how they do it? And so we're going to do that. And Randy, you're going to help me. Is that okay? And Rebecca over here is a syndicator. And so on. So it's going to be great. Let me know, Jeff, when you're ready. I think we're right on time. All right. Well, welcome back from networking. I hope you had a great time. And as Jeff Watson said in the panel right before, your network does become your net worth. And it's wider, deeper, bigger than you could ever imagine. And if you've got the self-limiting belief that you're not there, then get rid of it this week. Because this week we themed Limitless. Actually, Nicole Romano came up with that name. Nicole, are you still in the room? Oh, she just walked out. And that's what this is about, is like removing self-limiting beliefs, having the right mindset, and believing that you can do it. And by the way, I haven't told you guys this yet today. Kim McFarland, where are you? I believe in you. Right? Kim, I mean, that changed your perspective after the last Dealmaker. I'm not exaggerating or overstating. Sometimes we all need someone to say, you know what, I believe in you. This is a message I give my grandkids. My grandson Neil, especially him because he's dyslexic. That's why I love talking to some of you, because I know some of you are dyslexic. And I love that you're so bright, and it gives me great hope as a grandfather for Neil. And I always tell Neil, I said, Neil, I believe in you, I love you, and you can do it. Just because it just is a message that resonates. So let's talk about raising private capital. It's not hard. I think I've been investing almost 20 years now since I left corporate America. It's a long time, you know what I mean? Like 2 decades. I've been through some market swings. And when I first started investing, I thought I had to use only my own money. And then I started thinking I could do rentals, but I had to put 20, 30% down and realize that's not true. And then I thought I had to always use a hard money lender, so I sort of started that way for a while. But then eventually, after the market crash in like 2007, do you guys remember that? The hard money lenders started going out of business, believe it or not. Like they really started to struggle really badly. And so I had to figure out how to pivot. And I remember going to Panera Bread Company with somebody who's a friend of mine, who's a small business owner. And I told him, I said, I want to keep flipping houses, but like all my sources of capital are drying up. And he became my first private money lender. He was just a guy that owns a business in Richmond. He's still a friend of mine. And he had money just sitting in a checking account earning no interest, literally. He didn't do it in a self-directed IRA. He had zero real estate experience. He's never loaned money before. And some of those types of relationships become really good for many, many years, okay? So I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys are going to flip at least a couple houses this year? Oh my gosh, so many. How many of you guys are doing syndications, like you're buying self-storage, multifamily office, retail? Raise your hand high, Rebecca. Who else? Okay, Tim Davis, Rebecca. Okay, good. I like it. You guys are raising a lot of capital. How many of you guys are still building a rental portfolio? Yeah, good. And how many of you guys are private money lenders now? How many of you guys are doing wrap financing? My favorite. Okay, good. I like it. So part of this is like, when do you need to begin raising capital? I think you need to raise the capital like constantly. Like, don't stop. And really, you should start raising capital before you need it. But the truth is, you're not really raising capital. All you need to do is be able to attract what you need. And see that little bit of a mindset shift? I used to be an engineer, and as an electrical engineer, I was an introvert and loved math and science and controlling the variables to get the output, all that crap, right? And am not like a salesperson. So if I had to pitch something to somebody, I wouldn't do very well at it. But I did learn that if I could attract things into my life, it would be a lot easier. So this whole thing starts with having good deals. We talked about that earlier today. All these pictures in here are from Dealmakers. So some of you are in the slides, by the way, which is awesome. This is Leon and Adam at the last Dealmaker in March. But really, it starts with having a good deal. And Jeff Watson really took this whole slide when he said, you've got to have fundamental deals. It doesn't matter if it's a self-storage, an office building, an apartment complex, or a trailer park. If the deal is not fundamentally sound, you won't easily find your capital for the deal. But a really fundamentally sound deal to manage your risk will easily attract the deal, the capital for that deal. So you've got to have a good LTV. And you've got to be able to know how you're going to manage that entire risk model. Your deal has got to be viable. And if you're dealing with somebody who's not an experienced private money lender, you've still got to know how you're going to protect them. That's why I think it's so important for borrowers to understand the perspective of a lender. How many of you guys are both lenders and borrowers? Love it. You're my tribe. Me too. I love it. I love being on both sides. I'm still buying rentals. I'm still doing some flips. And I've got about a dozen or so or more loans out right now as well. So I'm there with you. I also think it's important to know your exit plan. And really to have a plan A and a plan B is really good if you can. So if you're going to do a refi to pay your lender back, Jeff talked about the importance of return of capital, ROC. As a lender, that's the ultimate, right? You've got to know how they're going to pay you back. So if your plan is to do that through a refi, then as a private money lender, you know that may take a little bit longer, correct? Because a lot of DSCR lenders require how much seasoning? 6 months. So you're going to cross over Tony's 6-month mark and pay him an extra 5 points. Tony and Randy, which I love. Okay, so you've got to know that going in. Or if you've got, I mean, there are, at least in Virginia, there are banks that I can refi commercially within 3 months or less. But it's because I have a strong relationship with them. So you got to know that on both sides. If you're going to flip, then you've really got to know your comps, and you don't want to exaggerate your comps to fit the LTV. So how are you going to return the capital is so important. How do you like this picture? I was looking through Dropbox last week and I found this one. I had forgotten about this house, but it's actually a house we did. Looks like we gutted it, maybe. Maybe we should have burned it down. What do you think? No. How many of you guys have been there? I'm sure it was a good flip for us, but you've got to create a realistic and detailed budget. It's so important. When I'm lending, I want to know like a breakdown of the costs, because then I can tell if they're in the right ballpark or not. I've done a lot of flips. I've done hundreds of them. So do you think I understand construction pretty well? I really do. I've got a really good knowledge of it. I've done it. I've been there. It makes me a better lender as well. But if somebody comes to me and says, you know, I'm going to paint for $800, I'm going to do a new bathroom for $1,200 and siding for $600, and you know they're just way off. They're either brand new or they don't know what they're doing, or both. So make sure you get your ARV right. Don't extend your LTV for your loan to value. Make sure you get your repair budget straight, because if you have a fundamentally sound deal, everything will go as planned. And you've got to include some contingencies and so on. And then you got to figure out, as a borrower, how you're going to handle the draws, right? And do you have enough capital to start that job? Or if you're working with somebody who's a non-lender, maybe they're going to fund that up front. You heard Jeff talk about that. It's a difference of what side of the table you're on. When I'm borrowing, I like to receive all my funds up front. Personally, as a borrower, I haven't done a draw in more than 10 years. I've received 100% of my funds up front for over 10 years. As a lender, I will do that some of the time if it's not a tremendous amount that they need up front, like it's a smaller rehab, or somebody that I really deeply know, love, and trust, and know what their track record is. So that's it. But if you want to manage your risk as a lender and you're working with somebody brand new, Tony and Randy, you guys would never give your funds all up front, would you? Right? So that's both sides of that coin. All right, how many of you guys like to save money? Aren't all deal makers like a little bit frugal? I have a friend, his name's Jeffrey Taylor. He's known as Mr. Landlord, and I just had this flashback to him going through this thing. He's actually very, very cheap. And he would go and he would say, I'm not cheap, I'm frugal. And he said, that's what I tell my wife, Dot, all the time. Have you guys ever met Jeffrey? He goes, I'm not cheap, I'm frugal. Well, deal makers need to be frugal. And I want you to take out your phone, hit that QR code, because we are saving people in our deal maker communities a lot of money. Personally, if you're using Lowe's, you can order Lowe's online and save up to 15%, which is pretty nice. It's online only, but you know, more and more stuff's coming online. As you heard Jason talk about Inspira, you know, it's just getting easier and easier to order stuff online. And then Sherwin-Williams, personally, I'm saving $10 a gallon on my paint since I put my own deal maker discount in. And I thought I had good pricing. So I've switched from PPG over to Sherwin-Williams because it's closer now. The price on my paint went down $10 a gallon. Just last week, I saved like $325 on my paint order. And there's more coming, because like Chandler is trying to help me get Floor and Decor. Do you guys use Floor and Decor? That's who I'm negotiating with next. So now all of a sudden, my role's changed with all these deal maker meetups. I'm negotiating for you deal makers on a nationwide thing. Mary?
I just want to tell you.
Come on up.
This is about this program.
Oh, well,
So
yeah.
I'm renovating,
Oh, I'm kidding.
renovating a house, a large renovation. The interior painting alone is close to $100,000.
Wow.
So I am in Inner Circle, and I got the Sherwin-Williams discount, and I called my painting contractor, and I said, if I can get a better discount than you, would you use it? He said, absolutely. I got a better discount than my contractor who buys all his paint through Sherwin-Williams. So he called up Sherwin-Williams and said, what the heck? My client gets a better discount than I do. And they gave him a better discount. So
All right.
that's my Inner Circle.
That's good. You know how much you saved? How much you saved?
It was a lot. I don't remember now. He was just starting. He
Probably
just-
$1,000 or more?
It's a lot per gallon. Like
Yeah.
a lot per gallon. I don't know.
And so I have a really good friend of mine who's got a custom painting business. And I went to him and I compared my Sherwin-Williams price with him because he uses a lot of paint and I was cheaper. And I thought, man, this Steelmaker discount we negotiated was pretty good. So, and there's other stuff coming in. And if you've got a product or service and you want to provide it to our Dealmaker community, we're looking for opportunities to do that. Chandler's helping to connect me with Floor and Decor. I really want to get them next for all our flooring. All right, so ARV, don't overestimate it just to conform to somebody's loan. Here's another, we touched on this a little bit earlier today too, is if you get a lot of flips going and you start going over budget on multiples and things start to stretch out, you're heading into the edge of the Ponzi scheme tsunami by being so far over leveraged. Don't let that happen. Take action early in that process. I'm sure all the volume lenders in the room have seen that happen to people. Personally, for quite a while, we flipped one house a week. Is that a lot of volume? And so I could see scenarios if I had been doing that over several months. If you're even falling behind 5, 10, 15, 20,000 per house over budget, out a little too long, you're going to struggle to make those payments. And the tendency for an investor is to go out and buy another house, pick up that funding so that you can make payments to the rest of them. And that is a fatal flaw, and you'll end up in a Ponzi scheme. So don't do that, okay? Take action early. If you start to fall off the rails, communicate is so important. I'm glad you guys brought that up this morning, Tony. All right, let me tell you about this one. This is a house we just finished. Doesn't it look beautiful? I worked on this lead for, I think, 5 months. Don't you guys think the follow-up is the gold in real estate investing? This was an old couple that owned the house a long time. They were the original owners. Can you imagine that? They lived in this house for like 40 years. 40 years. And the husband had a stroke about a year ago. And the wife, she couldn't make it up and down the stairs anymore. So they had a problem. They had more problems than that. They had mold in their bathroom. That roof is like terrible. They were hoarders. Anybody ever bought a hoarder house? Oh yeah, it's good, right? They were hoarders, like piles all the way to the ceiling. And things in there, and so they had to move, and they started, even though they've been owning this house for 40 years, they only had a small line of credit of some sort on it, but they had trouble getting an apartment. You know why? Because their Social Security wouldn't qualify them for their $1,500 a month. Isn't that sad? So even though he has like retirement, 401k, all those things, apartment complexes get so into the rut of what is your 3x income and all that, they wouldn't rent to him. But finally, after working with them for like 4 to 6 months, they found a place to go, and we got to take over the property, and it was worse than we thought. Ever been there? Because when you buy a hoarder house, you can't see anything. It's true. You can't see the floors. You can't see the gap below the baseboard. You can't see the broken French doors on the back deck. Literally, you can't see anything. So you've got to bank all of that in and plan for the worst case scenario. One of the things I wanted to highlight here is the way you present your deal to an investor, okay, because I think it's important. As a private money lender, if I can quickly see your numbers, at least I can make an initial assessment pretty quickly and say, is this one worth going to the next level down? So one of the ways I like to do that is with the Rehab Valuator. When an investor comes to me as a lender now and has their facts in a row, then I feel better. This is a really easy software program to use. How many of you guys have used Rehab Valuator? Okay, good. And my partner in Inner Circle, Daniel Clayman, is the founder of Rehab Valuator, so it makes sense that I use it. But, you know, I put this private money lending presentation for you guys today together in less than 15 minutes. And that was without any training. Like, I just figured out what the inputs are. You basically just put the inputs, the purchase price, your rehab budget. These are my actual numbers for this flip, by the way. 175 I paid. We put pretty close to 90 or 100,000 into that house. And ARV over on the right, you project your ARV 17 over there, 400K. We listed this house last Thursday. We sold it on the weekend for 400K. So the number was right. And then you can also put in your projection for what you want to pay to a lender, 10 and 2. That's what I typically charge, which I'm learning is way too cheap. Right? But as a borrower, I have many lenders that lend to me at 8 to 10 with no points. Would you like some of them? Yes. They're out there. Okay, but as a lender, I'm too cheap at 10 and 2. See, I'm learning. All right, so I like it, and then you just put those inputs in, the basic inputs, and you can also pull comps. You can pull rental comps, all this in Rehab Valuator, and then quickly you get, this is the actual address. I probably shouldn't have done that, but my cell phone number's on there. Anyways, you guys all have my cell phone anyways. All right, so it doesn't really matter. I can project out that it'll take 3 months to complete the rehab, 2 months to sell. It's a 5-month loan. That's a good loan for y'all hard money lenders, right? You like that? Speed, I love when I'm lending. If somebody can pay me off early, I like it. And I'm going to go 10 and 2 because that's what I charge. And then it'll automatically tell you what your interest, total interest, points, and so on is, along with the annualized return. If you've not used Rehab Valuator, you get a 7-day trial if you hit this QR code. So I just wanted to give that to you. My only point is this. You got to have good, strong, fundamental deal. Like, if you create a deal that is direct to a motivated seller, this deal here, there was no wholesaler. There was no realtor. It was just me and this couple, and me and my wife, Cheryl, sitting in their kitchen, smelling their cigarette smoke for 2 hours, whew, and helping them solve a problem. They actually had a big problem. The house was unsafe for them to continue to live in. They had mold in the bathroom. They had a roof that's leaking. They couldn't get up and down the stairs. They couldn't get anywhere because they were hoarders anyways. They never threw anything out in those 40 years, I swear. Solve the problem, and you'll have a fundamentally sound deal. But you've got to, Dan, you know this house. You helped me work on this house. Raise your hand. Dan's my friend and is contracting with me for, don't tell any stories about me, Dan. He's been on my journey for 15 years probably. You probably worked on that one in that staircase. I bet you did. Anyways, focus on solving problems. Have fundamentally sound deals. That deal had a large spread. We bought it for 175. We sold it for 400. How much gross is that? It's pretty good, right? And so I had enough to fix it up, not knowing exactly how much fix-up it would need, okay? So have fundamentally sound deals, know how to present them to somebody that can absorb at least the key information. Once I have I can know whether I want to go deeper into the due diligence from there, because it's underwriting for the lender. See sort of how I'm presenting both sides, the borrower and the lender? That's the life I live in. And this is the house, by the way, okay? So, yeah, it was a piece of crap, but isn't that what we do as investors? We take hot messes. And isn't that what God did for all of us, by the way? Amen. We're a hot mess and transformed my life. We do it to houses. God did it to me. How's that? All right. So how do you attract? I think one of the phrases I learned from Chuck Glover is be in the room. Wave your hand, Chuck. Chuck's my buddy. He's going to teach us on wrap lending. Be in the room, like show up. And this is the reason I'm loving the Dealmaker meetups, by the way, because what we're doing here in this 3 days is happening across the country on a month-to-month basis. So if you're leading one of my meetups, can you just wave your hand? So we got Chattanooga, Orlando, Richmond, Sarasota's in the house, like Nosotros out of Atlanta. I love it because it puts people into the room with the right culture, the right mindset, and the right values. And the truth is, like, if you just have one deep conversation with somebody this week, these 3 days, you're going to be so much farther ahead. And really, all of that comes down to being able to tell your story. I know I go to the Dealmaker in Richmond, and Forrest, you hit this all the time. Tell your story. I always tell the Dealmaker leaders, I say, make the members in your RIA, or in your Dealmaker, the hero of your story, and you'll never have an empty room. And it is so true. I do that with Dealmaker. And so what is your real estate story? And believe me, your journey is powerful. I love talking to this gentleman over here about the Vietnam War a little while ago. Didn't you? He told the story about how his helicopter got shot down. He landed in a tree. For our freedom? Are you kidding me? Thank you. But we all have real estate stories too. Does anybody have any real estate scars? I do. And I'm willing to share them. I used to be afraid to. Like 10 or 15 years ago, I wanted to like control perception of how I was doing, and that was just wrong. Instead, be authentic. One of the things about the Dealmaker in Richmond last week, somebody stopped me on the way out, and they said, I love this Dealmaker meetup because everybody's authentic. And isn't that what people want? Doesn't that draw people to you? Your story is special. What's happened to you in the past and in the future is very special. Your story really becomes your superpower. Oh, this one. So let me go back to here. This is Nicole. Where's Nicole? Are you in here? Oh, there you are. Your hair's up now. I love real estate stories. And, have you guys read the book Who Not How? So I've added Nicole onto my team to help me capture Dealmaker stories. She's really good at it. And so what Nicole has done is created a custom chat GPT to help pull your story out of you. Is that accurate, Nicole? You grab the mic right there. See, now I'm telling Nicole's story. I would much rather tell other people's story than my own. I am not a person that loves talking about myself. Go ahead. What is it?
What am I talking about?
Yeah. What does your custom chat GPT do?
Oh, so it will ask you a series of questions. And actually, I've programmed it if you get too down on yourself, because all of you think that you're small and you have no story to tell.
Oh.
I've worked with enough of you to feel like, I know there's a lot of shadow with a lot of you. You all have imposter syndrome. So if you wind up getting down on yourself while you're working with the chat, it will start cheering you on.
Oh,
So
my kind of chat GPT. How many of you guys use chat GPT? Every day. How many of you guys use it at least once a day? I love it. Great. Me too. And I was a late bloomer. I was like somebody who didn't want to do it. Now I'm hooked. I am hooked. So she created a custom GPT for this. I'm working on creating a custom GPT as well right now, but it won't be ready till next week. But I'm going to tell you more about that tomorrow on mine because it ties into lending. So if you're trying to figure out like how you can start figuring out what your story is, because I don't love telling my own story. I'd rather tell your story any day. It's much more comfortable for me. Do you guys enjoy being uncomfortable? Anybody? There you go, Stephen Fryer from beautiful Ottawa. All right. Well, that's the beard thing, right? Love it.
It's not itchy and uncomfortable.
No. I think it's beautiful. All right. Here's some questions you may want to consider. What inspired you to get into real estate? What is it that really lights you up about this lending thing, or this flipping thing, or this wealth building, legacy building thing that you do? Is it financial freedom? Is it helping your family? I told the story about how I helped this elderly couple get out of the house that they had to get out of. Isn't that what we do as real estate investors when you deal with motivated sellers every day? We solve problems. So share the spark that lit your fire. It's often the most relatable part. Also, here's Sandra. Be authentic about the hurdles you've hit. If you've heard my beginning story in real estate, you've heard that Cheryl and I bought a duplex when we were like 22, 23. My wife Cheryl will be here tomorrow, by the way. But we were very young. It looked great on paper. It was like $20,000. That's $10,000 a door, right? But it was in Jamestown, New York, where we're from, up towards Buffalo, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. We were undercapitalized. I was working full-time as an engineer. I'd meet people for tenants in the evening. I didn't even have an application, I don't think. I didn't pull credit. I don't even know if I had a lease back then. I don't know. I didn't have a network. I didn't have training. I didn't have Dealmaker. I didn't have YouTube, Facebook, people, nothing. And it was a constant struggle to the point that after a couple of years of owning this duplex and fixing things and trying to figure out how we're going to pay for them, Cheryl said, that's it. We're selling this thing. We sold it and we moved to Virginia. And she said, never again will I be a landlord. And you can ask her that tomorrow when you see her, and she'll tell you it's the truth. And that cost us between 5 and 10 years of investing in our 20s. So my only point to this is, number one, in your story, you're going to have scars. You're going to have times in your investing life where things are a struggle and they don't go right. The whole key is to be able to be authentic about them and share them with people. And then when you do fail and things get hard and things go rough, your speed of recovery makes all the difference, okay? I could tell you also another similar one, so I want to share with you guys how you tell stories today, about lending. I was lending out of a Roth IRA probably 10 years ago when I first went to something like this, probably down in Tampa with Peter Fortunato or somebody, and everybody made it look so easy. And I started doing this loan to the same investor, and all of a sudden his life changed. He was starting to get divorced, and he started ghosting me. And I had to foreclose on him, and I thought, this isn't very fun. So I stopped lending for a number of years before coming back in, not 5 or 10, fortunately. Okay, so besides being authentic about your struggles, you can also share your wins. And this doesn't mean posting checks onto Facebook, by the way. Your win is about the couple that you helped out of that house that was living in a house that's unsafe for them, that they couldn't get around. They had mold in the room, and they got into a beautiful brand new apartment finally after following up with them for 4 to 6 months. This is Jane. How many of you guys know Jane? Isn't that a great picture? I love it. Thank you, Rick. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Jane and I used to, well, we'll probably do them again, do joint ventures together, and worked with her for many years. It was great. Also, you've got to define, oh, Chandler. So there you are. Wave. Chandler's high energy, just a great guy. I love that he's got one on today. Stand up for us real quick. Yeah, doesn't he look great? So where are you headed in real estate? Like, what are you doing? Are you building a legacy? Are you creating affordable housing? Are you doing mobile homes? Are you building tiny homes like Lisa? Or what is it you're doing? Share your goals and you'll attract more in. So share your struggles, be authentic when something goes wrong, share your wins when it goes great, like you're going to a closing, or if you're a lender, then maybe you're sending a wire. I love the way Chuck phrases his lending. I'm quoting Chuck a lot. Become good friends, but he says, as a lender, I love participating in other people's legacies. Isn't that a great way to say it, a great mindset? I love it. I hope that wasn't in your PowerPoint for tomorrow, Chuck, but you can say it again. Oh, I don't know. But hey, look, John Heyer is with us. How about that, right? And there's Chuck. I didn't even notice the picture. I love it. And so be relatable. Your story doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be your story. Does that take the pressure off? Nobody in this room has perfect real estate investing deals. I have lost money. I have foreclosed. I have lost money on flips. I've lost money along the way many times. It's okay. I've also had a lot of wins over the years as well. But I keep showing up. Like you can knock me down at this point, but I'm just going to keep showing up. Share the moments where you maybe even you doubted yourself a little bit, or you had to pivot. Has anyone ever had to pivot? This year, last year rather, there was a lot of pivoting going on. Rates have gone up the last 3 years and all that. So be vulnerable, be authentic. Oh, here's Chuck again. We love Dealmaker selfies. And, your story does matter. You matter. And I just want you to know that, as you begin telling your story, it'll build trust. It'll inspire a lot of other people along the way. And it doesn't, like I said, have to be perfect. It's okay. I want you to build connections this week and collaborate with other private money lenders, other investors that are here with us in Orlando. The more you share, the more powerful it'll become. There's people in your life right now that don't know what you do, that need to know what you do. So don't be afraid to find a friend during Dealmaker this week. Grab a selfie like Chuck. Chuck, I remember when you didn't used to do selfies, but now you love them. Do they hurt when you do them or anything? Why wouldn't everybody at all these tables take a selfie together and share it with your, it's a picture of you and your new friends. Pretty good for an introvert, right? Did I tell you I'm a recovering introvert? I'm not going to ask you guys. Who are the introverts in the room? I could just about pick them out. So, I didn't ask for a show of hands. Me too. I'm recovering introvert. Recovering. I love you guys, man. You're some of my people. Yes. I just think it's good, and I'm going to go through that, but just share it on social media. Yeah. You do that for your real estate brokerage in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. Yeah, I think it's good just to practice in this room, but then share parts of your story, your team, your houses, your projects, what really gets you going. Oh, Nicole, you're back on my picture again. If you struggle creating it, ask for help. That's why Nicole created that ChatGPT. She is great at telling Dealmaker stories. She told Chuck's story in email format last year, and I think all of us that read it were in tears. Nicole, there you are. You're over there now. She's very, very good at telling stories and just creating that authenticity in the story is what I love. So if you have trouble, then you could hire Nicole, or you could grab her ChatGPT and begin to tell your story that way. All right, so Michelle, you said where? Well, there's a lot of places you can share. How many of you guys are on Facebook? Isn't that an easy one? How many of you guys are on the gram? Somebody laughed when I said that this morning. Instagram, right? LinkedIn. I'm starting to use LinkedIn more again suddenly. And YouTube. How many of you guys have YouTube channels? Yeah, more of you should. It's powerful. MySpace. WhatsApp. WhatsApp. TikTok. Lisa? All right. Oh, there we go. There's the queen of TikTok right over there. Wave your hand. Yeah, unassuming, isn't she? Have you ever seen her on her TikTok dancing? It's good stuff. So share your story and share it there. Just some ideas on what you can share. Before and after pictures people love. We did them in my Facebook group this week. They're always amazing. Don't you love a transformation story? taking a hot mess and making it beautiful. Lessons along the way, spotlight your team, closings, things like that. If you struggle with coming up with ideas, I would begin using ChatGPT. If you're kind of a late bloomer to AI and ChatGPT like I was, just start using it as your assistant once a day. Ask it questions. Ask ChatGPT to ask you questions about your real estate investing. Tell ChatGPT to help you figure out your story, all of that. It'll help you. You know, Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people that you're hanging out with. Don't you feel like this week a Dealmaker in Orlando, that's going up for you? I do. And that's what we meant with Unlimited, because networking is so important. I told you earlier, I don't love talking about myself. And that's a great way to network, because you're going to focus on other people. When you walk into a room like this, you don't want to be like, oh, here I am, right? No, it's like, oh, there you are, Michelle. And I'll give you a hug, right? Yeah, like bring it. Bring the warmth and the love, and make it about the other person more than yourself. One of the questions I learned from Leon Johnson that I use all the time is, where are you from originally? Do you guys ever use that? It breaks the ice. I've done it with some of you today. Our folks from Poland and Russia in the back, where are you guys? Oh, there we go. I did that this morning. Did you notice? Okay. Have you met those two, by the way? Anybody? Pretty amazing. Love it. And so ask them, where are you from originally? Do that with the people that you meet at a restaurant, driving your Uber, here at the hotel, here in our networking group, because it just breaks the ice really easily. Do it with your motivated sellers. I do it all the time with a motivated seller. People love talking about themselves, and that just digs in. So, who likes coffee and lunch? Anybody? You guys don't like coffee and lunch? I think it's good if you could go out to coffee and lunch with each other. What do you guys think? Would that change your year? Or some other investors in your local market? And I think if you could do this like once a week, I think we would all elevate. There was a couple of investors in Virginia that met at Dealmaker, actually. Martine and Lori is their name. They actually met and became friends at a Dealmaker. And then they went on this quest where they took out a real estate investor to lunch once a week for like a year. Both of their investing went boom. They did a lot better because they started having intentional conversations with people in a more intimate setting. And that's where you get beyond transactions. Like, it's fine to have a network. A network's good, but it's very transactional for a lot of people. Personally, I don't want a transactional relationship only with everybody. Like, I want to actually be legitimately your friend. Right, Mary Hart? Who I can say is legitimately my friend, Jeff Watson. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to be only transactional. It could be about life. And when you guys meet my wife, Cheryl, she's going to be asking you about your kids, your grandkids, all these things in a much better way than I can, okay? Because she's very, very big on all of that. Wouldn't you agree? You know her. Podcasting. How many of you guys have a podcast? Anybody? No? Oh, we got one. You have a podcast? Can I be on? Oh, I would love to. See, it's something new I'm starting to do is going back to podcasts. I had a podcast for a long time, but I got burned out. And then this is like a thing in my life. Then I took like a gap. It just dawned on me where I didn't do any, not only did I stop my own podcast, I stopped being guests on other people. Isn't a podcast a powerful way to tell your story? What do you guys think? You know, I'm not being political here, but one of the things that Donald Trump did right in his campaign was what? He went on Joe Rogan's podcast for 3 hours and reached like 30 million people with that podcast. So as real estate investors trying to raise private capital, one of the media formats you have is a podcast. So find the podcasters and ask if they can be a guest on the podcast. You're always looking for great guests, right? What's the name of your podcast? Mission Funding. I like it. I think we'll all be checking it out. Your downloads are going to go through the roof. Tell your story. Research the podcast in your area. Oh, Chuck, you're back again. Love Chuck Glover. All right, videos and webinars. This is a picture of Chuck speaking at his first Dealmaker last March, which I love. And I took it from the lens of the back of the room, obviously. I don't think I've ever shared this picture, but I like it. And you can have a webinar. You can do a video of a walkthrough, a project you're thinking about, something you're passionate about, and again, just keep it authentic. Okay, David Sugg, where are you? Oh, there you are, Dave. Man, I have not been able to shake your hand and give you a giant hug today, but I did capture your we'll do the Taylor Swift thing. I don't know how to do it. You've been doing a great job on your videos, and you did a video actually about coming to Dealmaker. Thank you. You were very authentic in it, which I loved. So this guy's got a lot going on with sober homes and all kinds of things. You've got to talk to him out of beautiful Mississippi. But one of the things, you need to Facebook friend him now too to catch all his videos because he's doing a great job. What are you walking through on this video?
That's a new build that I bought. I actually bought a slab, and we had the designs, plans designed to fit that slab. So I paid cents on the dollar for a slab. So that's double in my spread. It's
Neat.
super fun infill development.
I love it. Infill developments I love. So follow David Sugg and you'll catch his videos. Okay, here's another one. Oh, Lisa Engelhart. Caught yours too. Wave your hand. So Lisa's building she's got, I think it's 4 or 5 lots in a row in Deltaville, Virginia. 5, only 5, right? So she's building 5 houses at once right down the road. By the way, Lisa's amazing at land development too. And will buy a parcel of land, cut it up, and make bank. So you need to get to know her. But one of the things, I love that you're starting to do these videos, and they're not only on TikTok this time, they're on Facebook. So tell your story in video. Now, I did notice in your video, Lisa, you didn't show yourself. But you went up the steps and into the house, so that's good. Good start. So don't be afraid to do some of that. One-on-one conversations are important. You've got to also share your story with your partners, clients, prospective investors. And like I keep saying, I'm going to say it over and over, one deep conversation can really Yvonne, where are you? Dealmaker Orlando. You know, all these meetups that we're having all over the country started with Yvonne. It was his idea. It wasn't even my idea. Thank you for that. So being willing to take the microphone once in a while and speak, whether it's at your local meetup, an event like Dealmaker, or something like that is really important. It gives you the opportunity to build credibility and to tell your story. So if you get that opportunity, don't be afraid. You know, a long time ago, I used to be afraid of speaking publicly like this. So regardless of whether it's easy or you're nervous, you can do it. Tom Olson would say, you can do it, right? Be the conduit, not the bucket. Chuck, were you nervous when you spoke at Dealmaker last year? How much? Like shaky? And you knocked it out of the park. So you just got to go and you just got to do it. Do it when you have the opportunity to tell your story. Oh, Jeff Chahusky. All right. So we were at a Dealmaker maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and Jeff, is this a true story? That you told me you had a goal of raising $10 million for your hard money lending fund, and I made the announcement at Dealmaker and said if anybody has interest in learning more, they should talk to Jeff. He filled that fund that day. So sometimes all you need is some encouragement and be willing to tell people how they can participate in your deals. By the way, Jeff's got another brand new fund that I will mention. I think it's a $3 million fund that you may want to talk to him about. See how I helped you there, Jeff? I love helping other people. All right, collaboration and partnership. I can't think of anybody else I would like this picture with than Jeff Watson right now. So Jeff's not in the room, which is even better. But it's really important. Join mastermind groups like the Sweetheart Mastermind right here with Mary Hart. How many of you have been to the Sweetheart Mastermind? Mike Hicks, thank you. Michelle. It's an amazing, I don't know how people get on your schedule, but if you're a female investor, that is a mastermind you don't want to miss. Accurate? Yes.
I know the Sweethearts is only for females. How did Mike Hicks get there?
Michelle, you mean? Yeah. So find some mastermind groups. Yeah, now you can. Now you can. So find a good mastermind group. They're not always easy to find, but they're worthwhile when you do. Invest in yourself, and investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. You guys agree? Tim Davis, you're in some masterminds. What's the one that you like? Elite what? Oh, elite level. I like it. We should all be in. Are you taking members? Okay, get the info from Tim. All right, newsletters. I think it's important you can tell your, I don't want to get off my own schedule. I think I'm okay. You guys okay? Okay, newsletters. Another way you can communicate your story on an ongoing monthly basis. Don't be like everybody else borrowing money and never talking to your private lender. Send them some pictures, text them some updates. You know, I'm not saying like overload them, but typically I'm a person that over communicates anyways. And then besides like a project update, what if you were able to provide them with like what your vision, what your mission for the year is? Where are you headed with your business? Wouldn't that be nice as a private money lender to know like where your borrowers are going and what they're planning to do? Oh, Rebecca, I got you, right? Wave your hand. How many of you guys have met Rebecca? Tailored Investments out of Lynchburg, Virginia. She's a syndicator, I said, but she's so much more than that. She's an amazing mom and a beautiful daughter, isn't she? And so she's in Inner Circle too, which I love, so I get to hang out with her on Zoom. But she's got an amazing newsletter. What I love about your newsletter, Rebecca, is it's partly personal, it's partly educational, and it's partly like this is where we're headed as a business. And you do a beautiful job sort of like magically tying those three things together in a beautiful way. So I put your, this is how you'd sign up for a newsletter, correct? How many of you guys would like to sign up for Rebecca's newsletter? Take a picture of it or write it down. You're going to get some new subscribers today. Jeff Watson, you missed my picture with you a minute ago, but it was good. All right, so sign up for Rebecca's newsletter. Follow her on Facebook. LinkedIn also, she's on there a lot. And you'll see like, you'll learn how she delicately balances family life, vacations, and buying apartment complexes and assisted living all together, all in one masterful job. All right, and then don't forget about your brand and your website either. I do think it's important. You can easily have a YouTube channel, you can have a Facebook, you can have an Instagram, but ultimately your website is your digital home base. And like I'm looking at Nicole because she's creating all of my landing pages, including this one. She came up with this idea, create your future, become limitless. It's cool that Jeff, Chuck, and I get to enjoy that. But Nicole, I just want to say publicly thank you for coming up with that. I think it's beautiful. Do you guys like that? Yeah. Thank you. Am I out of time? Oh, it's on my bracelet. Yes, my assistant Melanie had the idea for the bracelets. Do you like it? See how I'm building a team now? After I tell you that, some of these books I read just make a big impact. Who, not how? Oh, Kim. Where's Kim? There you are. So I said your website is your digital home base. Kim used to have imposter syndrome, but she overcame it recently. So did I. I'm working on it too, Kim. And she did a beautiful job telling her story. I highly recommend you check it out. She says she's looking for private money lenders, but I'm not sure why, because I would like to be one. And you can check it out at kimmcfallon.me. Read her story the way that it was. Again, Nicole, you helped develop that story and tell it. You did a beautiful job. Okay, are you coming up? Oh, yes. Yes, come on. Oh, this is it. Her big why is really, really good. So let's talk about telling stories. You have a microphone? You're good? Okay, this is perfect. Come on up. Yes, I want you to tell the story about how you're creating the story of creating the fund with Jeff Chahusky. I can't have Jeff do this, but you can do it.
Okay.
Do you mind?
It should be Mike. Can you hear me?
No?
Make it hot.
There you go.
Thank you. So, how many of you would like to know how we raised $3 million in under 8 weeks? Want some tips on that? We're not quite there yet. I think we're at about 2 million now. But it's looking like it's going to happen. No problem. And the reason, and Jeff has mentioned this earlier, it's due to the story, not the numbers. You want to sell people the watch. You don't want to tell them how it works. They don't care. Save that for the end if they want to dig into the details.
Can you turn our volume up and then maybe switch the screen back to my PowerPoint?
They're moving me to this.
Oh,
I can use my cheerleader voice.
yeah, do that.
Does that work?
Whoa.
Sorry. So you want to sell them the watch. They don't really care how it works. Are we up yet? Are we live? No. This is an impromptu session, by the way. I was asked to speak about 10 minutes ago, and
That's the way Dealmaker works. It's very organic.
I'd like you to write this down. For any of your pitches, whether it's in a pitch deck, a landing page, in person, what have you, write down the word capstone. This is not mine. I remembered it, thankfully, from a YouTube I watched a few weeks ago. This is from a serial entrepreneur named Daniel Priestley. Capstone stands for, it's an acronym. You want to use this in every single one of your pitches. Clarity, authority, problem. You're going to present the problem. Solution, opportunity, the opportunity you're presenting. Next steps, and the essence.
I like it.
The essence is what we really dug into here. I approached Jeff. I've worked with him officially since August of last year. Unofficially since March, Dealmaker is when we sort of commenced our working relationship. I've worked with him pretty closely since then. And when you work with someone closely, you get to see a lot of things. You get to see all the dirt. Spoiler alert, there's no dirt with Jeff Chahusky. I trust him implicitly, and right now I don't have very much money. And I'm trying to be better with the money I do have.
We're working
I have an
on
SD
that.
IRA. I know you're working on it. I have an SD IRA. I said, Jeff, I want to put this in your fund. So he's got a 9% fixed interest rate fund. He goes, Nicole, I might have something better for you. Then he told me about Alpha lending. Are you guys trying to get the deck up?
You can just tell it.
All right, I'll just tell it. I think they're working on it. Okay.
Just keep,
All right.
keep telling the
Sorry,
story.
I'm the nudge.
So Alpha, tell us about Alpha.
I'm a nudge from New York. So,
You're good.
touch the screen.
Yes,
I am.
she does.
I am.
Just
That's
tell
all
the
right.
story.
I'll
Just
just-
keep it going.
I'll just keep it going.
You're good.
Fake
Tell
it
us
till you
about
make
Alpha.
it. so he said to me, I've got something I think that's better for you. And then he told me what the opportunity was with Alpha. And the way I went about this pitch deck is I said to myself, what would make a single mother with not very much money? What made me say, yeah, heck yeah, I want in on that. Like, put my name down. So that's like the baseline. You've got to step into your investor's shoes. What's going to make them say yes? And it really comes down to humanity. So first of all, you want to start with a hook on, I usually start with a hook on the front page. You'll see in our pitch deck outside, something big is about to go down. It's like, well, oh, what's happening? Wake people up. And then you want to share the big numbers, the general overview. I know you can't see this, but right away we get them understanding what's happening, where it's happening, and what are the most impressive things that are happening with it. So we share that there's $1 billion in loans currently serviced. I think that's a pretty impressive number.
Wow. It's a lot of debt.
They're at $1 million in profit right now, and $60K is generated on average for each one of these loans. And we just share like where it is. It's in Idaho, what type of business it is, hard money lender, just bullet points. This is the general overview. And then we think about, well, what are the ways that we can improve what's already happened? Think of a rental property, how we go in with capital improvements, right? These are strategic improvements that you would make on a company to make it even better than it already is. And we've listed those out. Right now, these two guys have been doing all the sales on their own, the two people that own this company. So, well, what if we added a sales force? That, of course, was not my idea, it's Jeff's idea. He's gonna be adding a sales force, implementing consistent face-to-face marketing, just new strategies. And that he knows that as a hard money lender, he knows that the existing fee structure isn't great, so he's gonna be fixing and tweaking that and making it better. We talk about market conditions. And then when you look at something like this, you can see a decline, right? And the big part of this part of the story is you almost don't want to put this in a pitch deck where you have a graph that's showing the company doing really great and then, well, if you tell people what actually happened behind those numbers and you tell them that these guys are in their 50s, they've been doing great, they don't really need more money, and they basically got senioritis and just started their retirement before actually retiring, you understand that they could have been doing better.
Always be authentic.
They could have been, yes. So you tell the truth, you say what's actually happened, and then you basically, then that took the next page and had a more powerful impact on the next page when we said, and here's the new, enter the new operator, enter the seasoned operator. We talked about Jeff and how he has been in this business for a long time and understands the nooks and crannies of it, and how he will come in and without any sights on retiring anytime soon and make it better. And then we just put it all together. We put all of those pieces together to show the strategic improvements, how the company wasn't doing well, but merely because these two operators were out on the golf course and fishing instead of running their business, how we plan on implementing a new sales force. When you put all of that together, you easily get 25% growth year over year. And then after all that, that's when we started to dig into the numbers. That's when we present the spreadsheets.
Story first.
Story first.
Okay.
And to sort of audit myself, or to look at what I could have done better, I could have ended with an emotional, bookend. So that's how I would improve this pitch deck. But you can talk about your dream team, the team players, the people that are going to help support you along the way, as we have done. But yes, always be authentic and use Capstone, the acronym. Sell the watch. Please ask questions.
Is that the pitch deck for the 3 million?
This is the pitch deck for the 3 million, and I'm sorry that I had to verbally explain
No, I think
it
it's
to
better
you.
that way, actually,
Okay, that's good because
be honest.
I'm not verbally articulate. That's why I write instead. But
But do you see how you start with story?
thank you.
And like, I just want to say thanks for capturing Dealmaker stories. You're doing it again for me now. Got 3 more coming, so thank you.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
as a real, so I would love to teach strategy, structuring, financing. But today, for you that are investors, landlords, flippers, I wanted to really compel you to learn your story and tell it. If you do, then I really do believe the private capital you need for your deals will truly be limitless. You've just got to be able to be authentic and talk about what you do and allow other people to participate with you. The collective net worth of this room is very, very large. Anything that any of us need is in this room, but you've got to have a fundamentally sound deal before you make that move. We are ready to transition into my favorite panel, which is the $1 billion panel. Randy, can you come up? You can join me. Rebecca, come on up. Jeff Watson, obviously.